Hello guys, welcome back to Chelsea Godfather channel. Please subscribe to my channel for regular updates. Guys, transfers are in the air. Transfers are in the air. The two deals that seem to be on their way. I mean, not saying on the way, but there seems to be a bit of wind behind these two. Possible deals are Renato Veiga to Atletico Madrid and possibly Nicholas Jackson to Man U. Well, let's start with the more likely of the two deals. Renato Veiga to Atletico Madrid. Reports are out there that there have been club to club, contact. I mean, once you hear club to club, that means that it's moving. It's moving, and I don't see Viega having much of any pushback or doubts with regards to moving permanently to Atletico Madrid, which is a massive club in their own right. Okay, obviously they play in the Spanish La Liga, and outside the Big Two, which is Real Madrid and Barcelona. Arguably, Atletico Madrid is number three. And it's not really arguably. I mean, they are the third best, the third biggest club out of Spain, and so they are a massive club. And keep in mind that Veiga is a player that Chelsea just bought last year from I believe from FC Basel in the Switzerland league, the Swiss Premier League, for roughly around 14 million euros or pounds. I'm not quite sure which one it is, but obviously low amount, low fee, low fee. The fee was low. It was one of those deals where, right, it's both an opportunity for the club to buy the player, and also for the possibility of the player helping to fill an area of need for the club. And the idea was for Viega to be a backup to Mark Cucurella at left back, and also to help to fill in if needed in midfield. The player himself, Viega, did describe himself as a very versatile player who can cover left back, left center back, and midfield. So he was happy and excited to join Chelsea when he was signed. And in fact, over the course of his time at Chelsea, which was only from August through January, roughly around 5 months, he was able to make 18 appearances across like four competitions, and roughly around 950 minutes, or 980 minutes, just under 1,000 minutes played. So he did get playing time. Now he didn't get a lot of playing time in the Premier League, but he got playing time in pretty much all the other competitions. And when he played, for me it became evident, with regards to where his strengths lie and where his weaknesses lie. Well, let's just talk about his strengths. His strength is obviously he's big, he's tall. I believe he's like a 6'3". He's physical. He's very good on the ball. Comfortable on the ball. His passing range and his passing, vision is almost like midfielder, right? I mean, I've seen him obviously in the conference league. I mean, I watched him play a lot of minutes in conference league, and there was one game that he played at left center back, and he was quite sublime in that game. And again, I guess that's what pretty much led I mean, made sense with right for me in terms of his subsequent desire to leave their club to a team that allow him to play permanently at left center back. Obviously, keeping in mind of the fact that Chelsea already has Levi Colwill and Benoit, Badiashile at left, center back, who are preferred, ahead of him. And I know that some, Chelsea fans rate Renato Veiga ahead of Badiashile, but the area of weakness is remember I said the strengths and the weakness. His area of weakness is actually Badiashile's area of strength, and in as much as Badiashile also excels in terms of ball possession and and his technical ability on the ball. I believe he's even taller than Veiga. But his shield also has pace. He's pretty fast. He has a lot of pace, whereas Veiga lacks. He's not slow, but he's just his pace is just off, just a bit below par for the way that Maresca prefers to play his man-to-man press, his high press that's going to leave a lot of space behind. That's would expose the weakness in Viega's game, and that's explains why he did not play a lot at left center back for Chelsea. Especially in the Premier League, because the Premier League has a lot of fast players. It's a fast-paced league, and so the matchup would have been rough for him in the Premier League for Chelsea, particularly. Whereas him going to play in La Liga, the pace is not as fast. I'm not saying it's slow, but it's not as up and down like it is in England. And then also the club that he's going to play for. Obviously, if we assume that this deal does go through in Atletico, Madrid under Diego, Simeone. I mean, you guys are, he's not the most attack, minded, manager, right? Right, he's more or less a guy that likes to, be tight, defensively, control games from a defending and ball winning point of view, and then spring in terms of counters and things of that nature. So with at Atletico, more often than not, they're going to play in a mid to low block. There's not going to be a lot of high pressing, a lot of crazy man-to-man. So that will actually, favor a player like, Veiga. And I expect him, if this deal goes through and he ends up at let's go, Madrid, I expect him to actually play very well for them. And that's my take on that. And, the demand for Chelsea is 40 million euros, which in this day and age is not really a lot of money. I think it equates to roughly around 33 or 35 million pounds. So that's not, obviously it's going to be a massive profit for Chelsea, but in terms of the amount they're asking for, it's not a lot. And I mean, it's not crazy high, and it's definitely within the budget for Atletico Madrid. So let's see what happens with regards to this deal. Now the other deal is Nicholas Jackson to Man U. I mean, this deal is literally, the information is still just marinating, developing. Is like it's still fresh out of the kitchen. So there's not really that much known there. But you know what we do know is that obviously as this window begins to wind down, and certain strikers or striker options have been taken off the market with regards to Kitike going to Liverpool, Pedro coming to Chelsea, Victor Gio Keres pretty much on his way to Arsenal once they stop being cheap and just find the remaining £5 million to complete that deal. Then you realize that at a point, Action Jackson becomes the remaining prime striker on the market of out of whatever the remaining strikers are, at least with regards to his age profile, his height profile, his pace profile, technical ability on the ball, his hold up ability on the ball, his work rate profile, his work ethic profile, right? His obviously stats. I mean, he scored 17 goals in his first season, obviously 14 in the league plus another 3. Then last season he had scored 13 goals. He was injured for about 2 or 3 months, and then when he came back from that hamstring injury, it obviously took him a while to find his feet, and so that did not help his stats. So this player is a player that is is a useful player, right? He's quite a useful player. We've seen the fees that quote unquote useful strikers have been going for, and notwithstanding that Jackson does have his issues in terms of poor finishing in the box, but just keep in mind this is a player that's not quite yet in his prime, and he's. Even you may say he hasn't yet improved, but he hasn't quite his productivity. His relative productivity hasn't declined. It's been fairly consistent, and this is definitely a player that is going to produce regardless of where he plays, because he's just, like I said, action Jackson. He's always just active. He's into everywhere. He creates a lot of good things for himself and for his team, knowingly or unknowingly. That's just Jackson. And Man U is they're a desperate team. Right, they're a bit of a desperate team. Right, they're trapped. Last season they were trapped in 15th place. Hoyland only scored about like 4 goals, I believe, in the league. I don't know how many goals the other striker option scored. What's his name again? Xerxes. I've chipped in another 2 or 3 goals. Basically, they don't have any strikers. Jackson is way better than whatever Man U has. That's just the reality. And I know that Man U fans, they would love to stick their noses up at Jackson, but Jackson is definitely a player that's going to improve Man U for me. Personally. I would rather have Jackson for us to use Jackson to lure Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa, right? That's my preference, rather than sending him over to Man U and having Man U possibly throw us Garnacho. That's not the type of deal that I would like to see happen. But as it turns out, it appears that Jackson is a top target for Man U, and so let's see how things turn out there. Then the last but not the least news is the update with regards to Mark Guehi. And I mean, this is a player, obviously former Chelsea player. He grew up in Chelsea academy. He was obviously then sold to Crystal Palace, where he's gone from strength to strength. At a point, CP put slapped a 70 million pound fee on his head that prevented Newcastle from buying him last season. But as it turns out, this summer, I mean, he basically has 1 year left. I mean, Gurhey next year is going to be free, and he's definitely not going to extend his contract. So it's going to be a free player next year. And so Crystal Palace is really in a bit of a bind, because they have Guehi that's about to be free next year. They have Eze. I think Eze has 2 years left on his deal. So next year, Eze is only going to have 1 year left, right? It's all well and good to hold on to your top list, but at some point in time, right, you're going to need to create some fresh funds to come in so that you can reinvest into younger players to basically, keep this thing going as a going concern in the Premier League. And so, I mean, Guehi for me is a player with 1 year left. I mean, if Palace does not sell him this summer, that would be a bit of a head scratcher for me. And given he has 1 year left, and Chelsea has always been looking to improve their defense, notwithstanding that the players that we have done well in terms of winning the Conference League title, in terms of winning the Club World Cup title, becoming world champions. Right? The reality is the two biggest trophies that we actually won are the Premier League and the Champions League. Let's just keep it real, y'all. Let's just keep it real. It's about the winning the Premier League and the Champions League. That's where it's all going to boil down to. So, if there's any opportunity out there to bring in Mark Guehi that has 1 year left on his contract, without having to worry about how many defenders we have to Chelsea has to make a move to try and make that deal happen, and then worry about the outgoing defenders after the fact. That's how I feel about it. How do you all feel? Please like this video, share this video, and leave your comments below. God bless you guys. Peace.